gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the, where are we? Rutherfield United Walking Football Club 10-year anniversary do. There is a small agenda to follow, so please put your hands together for leader, legend, founder, Mr. Ian Massey.
Thanks very much, John. We're going to have just a couple of fairly short, short speeches, and one of the things I wanted to say really was this: there was a point 10 years ago when I didn't think this was going to last 10 days. So it's really quite an achievement to get this far. And what I want to do in this is take the opportunity to thank one or two people in particular for their role in helping us to get started and to develop. First of all, I'm going to introduce someone to you who you will not have met. And perhaps I should say that they come from Hungerford today. They don't know anyone here, but Mike Hall and his wife Marie are somewhere in this room, over there. Mike in the check shirt. Now, 10 years ago, Mike was in fact the practice manager at Sonning Common Health Centre. And during a conversation that I had with one of the GPs, I mentioned about my involvement in walking football, and he started to think about, was that something that perhaps the health centre might be interested in, and said, why don't you talk to Mike about that? So I spoke with Mike, but didn't just speak with Mike. We involved the chair of Rutherfield United Football Club, Andy Tidswell, about getting involved and setting something up. But this, we knew, was going to be difficult, because one of the things you're trying to do here when setting this up is setting something up which there doesn't appear to be a demand for. So you know you're going to be having to work hard at this. And what Andy Tidswell did was to offer us a base, a home, if we got started in Bishopswood. What Mike did was to devise a poster at the health centre, which he then used to print off a few copies, which we put in some of the notice boards around Sonning Common, advertising a date for walking football to come up and find out all about it in June at Bishopswood. So, thinking about this for a moment, who do you think would have been the first member of our club to show up on that June day? No. Oh, it's going to take a long time. Yes, Phil Beach. Phil Beach was correct.
Is he here?
No, he's on holiday. Phil Beach was one of the first to show up. He was actually up there before myself and Andy Tidswell. There were about 6 other people. We went through the usual things about explaining what this was about, and had a little bit of a kick around, asked if people would like to come back next week, and they did. Phil came back next week, he brought someone with him. Someone else came from another part of Caversham, came up for the first time. They brought someone with them. And that's basically how it really began. The important point was that we'd started something. The difficulty was, if you like, in maintaining it. So, Mike did another poster, and we put that in a wider area down into Caversham and elsewhere. But really, it was just mainly word of mouth. I mean, even though obviously you could see we were small in numbers, by July, where's Ron? There he is. Ron Middleton had joined, right? By August, Bernard had talked his way into the club, which was really good, but it was quite obvious that I wasn't going to be short of advice, let's put it that way. And sometimes not everyone could come down to Bishop's one day, or had other things to do. And Mark Luthwaite and myself remember playing 3-a-side. And that was really quite dispiriting, because I couldn't even score a goal then, which is just very poor. But the thing was, during that first year, something began to happen with a bigger group of players. Sometimes we started to play in tournaments and go away from Bishopswood. But what was clear was that there was a sense of camaraderie developing within the club, without just really forcing it. And and people wanting to be more involved perhaps than just coming up and playing football. They like the social side, they like talking with people, they like sharing some of the issues that arose in their own lives. And so you had this kind of mutual support feeling within the group, and that has been something that we maintained, I think, right up until the present day. I should say that in this, there was an awful lot of laughter. You know, I mean, people falling over still raises a laugh in many cases. I know it sounds cruel, but sometimes it does. And, you know, there was a lot of laughter around on various things, a lot like that. And one of the steps forward, really, was partly due to John Curley being involved in the finances, which he managed to make sense of. One of the things we did, we actually decided, when we had a surplus, about what to do with it. And everyone in that group said, we need to buy a defibrillator. Right? Yeah, it surprised me. It was like, well, disappointing me, really, in some ways, because I had other ideas. The thing was, there was no defibrillator at that point in Bishop's. We were sometimes going away from the site. There was very rudimentary first aid facilities where we were going in many cases. The only problem with the idea was that in the end we didn't have quite enough money to do what we wanted to do. Well, thanks to Soningcommon Parish Council, they gave us a grant to be able to do this, and it was guided a lot by Doc Martin and Dave Robinson, and what we bought in the end was a semi-automatic defibrillator, which we still have today. It travels everywhere that we go. It's here today as well, just in case. The other thing about this is that grant from Soningcommon Parish Council wasn't the only thing that they did. And one of the things, in addition to that, was the way in which they helped us to support first aid training for 3 new members of the group. Now, if you're going to have a fall today, or you are not feeling very well, this is a good place to be. With Doc Martin here, 3 first aiders, you know, you're going to be looked after very well indeed. But I want to thank Diana Pillman, who's over here from Soningcommon Parish Council, for that contribution. Because it's so important. Now, the other thing that we managed to do in those early days was to start donating to particular charities that were known to us. And there were fairly small donations initially to things like the mental health charity Mind, the Girls Into Football, Sue Ryder. Those are the main 3 that I can recall prior to COVID. But it's after COVID that aspect has really blossomed, and that's due to an initiative led by Barry for a charity music event, which he set up and has been our main fundraising activity of the whole year. Obviously, it's one of those things that takes place in around about October, November time. And one of the things about it is that it's carried on, and the charities that we've been able to support and give more financial aid to are quite varied. Thanks a lot to Ian Beale, who isn't here, for the way in which he has managed our contact with people like the British Heart Foundation, the rehabilitation unit of the cardiac unit of the Royal Berkshire Hospital. And we've raised money for a range of cancer charities, and also, more recently, more to home, FISH, which is the organisation, the voluntary group, which organises community transport and supports particularly people who are less able, some people who are infirm around the villages around Soningcommon. So that's been really helpful. Now, in all of this period of 10 years, we have, of course, lost members. And we always try to remember them. And one of the things that we do is to try and build on their legacy. And that's what we will do each year, so we don't forget them. There is something else that I wanted to mention that we also try and do, particularly to people perhaps who have, perhaps fallen on harder times, perhaps They are unable to do the kind of things that they used to do, perhaps. Offer a kind of sanctuary to them. I think I'm really talking about those supporters of Welsh rugby. Who have been through a very difficult time, which we only occasionally remind them of.
Thank you, Chairman, and well done for that speech.
Joking apart, Gareth and Tudor have been really supportive. I don't know if you'll agree with me on this, on developing the Boot Boys band. They've given a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of advice on helping the Boot Boys to get where they are today. I'll leave you to imagine where that is. Right? So, this is a bit of a cliche. On that note, I'll pass over to Barry.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, friends of Rotherfield United Walking Football Club, good afternoon. Today does mark a very special milestone, our 10th anniversary. 10 years of football, friendship, laughter, competition and community. But before anything else, I want to thank the people who have made today's event a reality. Ian Beale, where is he? Oh, he's not here. Apparently his wife booked a holiday so they couldn't be here. Steve Cannon, Ian Massey and John Curley. Thank you for organising this celebration, and also to Lauren from the Bottle and Glass for her support in putting it all together. As Ian alluded to, later on we will enjoy the inimitable musical talents of Gareth and Tudor, who always bring something unique to any RUWFC party. Thank you guys for being club legends and doing what you do. When you look back to 2016, the club was a handful of men with a ball, a pitch and an idea. Every year since then, we've grown steadily and purposefully. Today, in 2026, we stand here as a club of 87 members, with new faces joining almost every month. We run 2 sessions every week, and we compete proudly and quite successfully at over 50s, over 60s, over 65s and over 70s level in tournaments and the Oxfordshire Walking Football League. The footballing heart of this club has never been stronger. But RUFC has become so much more than a walking football club. We've built a genuine community. We've created friendships. We've developed offshoots that reflect our members' passions. Monthly socials, music groups, paddle, cycling, golf, cricket, darts. And as Ian highlighted earlier, we give back. Last year alone, we raised almost £8,000 for charities that are close to our hearts and to the local community. That is something we should all be proud of. For me though, our greatest achievement is simpler and more human. We have brought together men of a certain age, from all walks of life, who genuinely enjoy each other's company. We've created a place to play, a place to keep fit, to contribute, to make new friends, to socialise and enjoy a precious few hours each week. To be part of something very special. So my final thanks today is to every single member of Rotherfield United Walking Football Club. You are the reason it is what it is. You are the spirit, the humour, the banter, the energy and the heart of Rotherfield United Walking Football Club. The challenges that we face now are very different to the ones that Ian and the founding members faced in 2016. The members, our friends and families, will relish the challenges and opportunities of the next 10 years. Together, we will keep Rotherfield United Walking Football Club an important, meaningful and joyful part of our lives. So ladies and gentlemen, please join me and raise a glass to Rotherfield United Walking Football Club, 10 years and to the next 10 years. Thank you, and now Gareth, Tudor and the band, do your thing.